I thought I dripped on myself. What's going on, everybody? Somehow, sometimes you wake up in the morning and it feels like your lip doesn't work. Drip coffee. No, I'm good though. Everything's fine. Hey, what's going on? So it's Monday. Back in the office. Kind of back in the office for real. I kind of took last week as kind of the end of my vacation, and then we had company this weekend, and so it was really fun. Had a great time. So let's talk a little bit about something kind of funny. Okay, this is an interesting thing to me, and I don't. There's no negative or positive to it. I guess it's just one of those kind of behavior things that's sort of funny and sort of weird about guitar players, and probably about most people in most hobbies. And that is like, why do we want everything more complicated than it is? You've heard me say it. I'll say it again. That guitars are pretty dumb. They're like very simple. And I say dumb in the sense of, like I always say, if this is a smartphone, then guitars are incredibly dumb. They're very, very simple. Mechanically, they're very simple. It's just simple geometry that makes them work. And, as far as all the angles and stuff, and the electronics in them is like the most simple circuit. Think elementary school wrapping a nail, a wire around a nail and hooking it up to a battery. I mean, we're really talking the super most simple stuff. And a capacitor and a volume and a tone don't make it much more complicated than that. I mean, it's very, very simple. But it seems like people want it to be more complicated. It's like they're looking for a reason. And I think I know why. I'd like to get your thoughts on this as well in the comments. But based on, what people look at and how they ask questions in comments, on YouTube videos, because we've been doing this for so long, you got a pretty good catalog of them. Either you'll have the guy who thinks, like, for example, if I make a video, they'll think I oversimplify it and you didn't explain it well enough. Well, I mean, sure, you can make anything as complicated as you want, but for the purposes of what we're doing with a guitar, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It's very simple. So, getting into magnetic flux and getting into all of this stuff, you're just making it more complicated, right? It's not that hard. When somebody messages us on the website, I get this all the time. I'll get people saying, hey, can you design a pickup? And I'm like, we don't typically do that. I design stuff and then it's got my name on it. So it's got to be good. I want it to be good. But they'll be like, I want this crazy magnet and this sort of arrangement and this and this and that. I don't want to tell them it won't work, but it basically won't work. It's like, it'll make sound, but there's no reason to do all this complicated stuff. Well, what about this kind of magnet? What about that kind of magnet? And mixing these magnets together and doing this and that and all this coil shape and blah. And I'm like, okay, you could do all that if you want. I mean, sure, fine, yeah, do it. But it doesn't really make a substantive difference to what we're doing here. Like, this is pretty easy stuff. Usually the answer to any tone question is very simple. Even with guitar setup, like a lot of people, I can't intonate this guitar. There must be something really wrong. And, there's something that I've not thought of. There's something that nobody else has thought of before. And well, all you have to do is this, helping them in a Facebook group or something. No. It's got to be something other than that. No, actually, it's a basic measurement. It's very simple. Like, why do you want to make it more complicated than it is? It's a weird thing. It's like people are looking for an intentional rabbit hole instead of actually looking for a solution to a problem. Now, I understand that everybody looks at life differently. And you might look at life differently, way differently than me. My brain, as a designer of things, goes to problem solving, right? Like our center punch pickup solved the problem of volume drop when you coil split a humbucker. Like that, It works very well, and it took me a long time to get it right, and it's a very successful product because of that. It works good. So I was trying to solve a problem, and then then there's a knock-on problem to that. You got to make sure it sounds good, right? But I know that some of you, many of you, are literally looking for a rabbit hole. Now, I do this with other stuff. I do it with my knife hobby. I do it with my pen hobby. I do it with watches. I'm not looking for a solution. I'm just looking for something neat. You know what I mean? When I go shopping for a watch, I'm not like, you know what I really need? I need something to tell the time. I don't do that. I'm like, you know what I need? Like, this is a space watch. I'm looking for all the space watches. Like, I want something for a reason. I think it's neat. So I get that. I get that many people are looking at guitar stuff, watching YouTube videos, spending time in forums because they're just looking for something neat, right? They want something neat. And to be honest with you, simple answers are boring. You know, if you've gone into my chat on the website at DylanTalksTone and asked a very complicated question or I'm looking for this very particular thing. And I'm like, yeah, we have something that does that. It's this. It's our P90. It's our DAF. One sentence solves the whole problem. Because we do what we do and we know how to do it. We could make things way more complicated than we do. And I think, just to give you a little inside baseball here, I think it's kind of why I get bored with making YouTube content, because there's so little, actually. So we've 2,000 videos over 13 years plus this channel. And I'm like, okay, we've talked about what is there? I think I counted it up one time. There's like 34 parts or like 27 parts. I don't remember. It depends on the model, but somewhere around 30 individual parts on a guitar, right? Like if you count the frets as a set, right? Then everything else, fretboard, truss rod, neck, tuners, nut, saddles, saddle springs, saddle screws, bridge, platform, you know what I mean? Like you go through, you're like, okay, there's like 35 parts on a guitar. It's like not that freaking complicated. And so we've talked about those 35 parts for 13 years. And it's like, oh, I'm so bored with this. And I think that's like, honestly, that's why I started this channel. Cause I was like, I just need a little creative outlet for this. Right. Cause it's it's pretty easy. And I think what happens is so one of the reasons why I think this happens is because people feel, I think on the insecure side of life, and there's a lot of insecure guitar players, we know that, is that they aren't sure they're right. And they want to be right because they want to make sure that they make the right decision. You want to make sure that you don't do the wrong thing. Don't worry. It's okay. Like you can do the wrong thing. 99% of the time, you're not going to ruin your guitar. There's only a few things that will really ruin a guitar. So don't stress about that. Like have confidence that you can play the guitar, and that you can set it up. Like you can do it. It's not that hard. It's very, very easy to do as long as you just know a few things. So you don't have to be an expert at this stuff to be proficient at it, right? Like I'm not saying you're going to be Dan Erlewine or, some crazy guitar tech, but you can be fairly proficient very easily. It's okay. I'm literally saying that not to make you feel like an idiot. I'm saying it to instill confidence in you. I want you to feel good about working on your guitar and understanding this stuff. It's, just understand that it's not that hard and you can do it. All right. You can do it. I promise. And then there's the other kind of side of it where people want to sound like experts. These are the dorks in the comment sections that want to make everything more complicated than it is so that they can sound smart. And they just end up sounding like dorks. Obviously that's the fun I have, because you're like, all right, dude, really, this is stupid. It's hilarious. Because it's not that hard. You don't need to make it that complicated, and you don't sound smart if you're just trying to make something more complicated than it is. it's actually makes you sound smarter if you can take something very complicated and explain it to people who may not understand. You know, if you can explain how a pickup works to somebody who doesn't know what a guitar is, then you're pretty smart. Like, anybody can sound smart, but if you really understand this stuff on the elemental level, like on the most basic level, and you can explain that to a new guitar player, you know, it's like they always say that, like, if you knowing something is one thing, but being able to teach it to somebody else is another, in a way that they can actually, you know, pick it up. Maybe spend more time on that. Maybe spend more, not on knowing the stuff, because there's not that much to know, but literally spreading it to others in a way that they can, you know, and that's better for the community. Sounding smart in a comment section is stupid in comparison to, like, showing somebody and helping somebody be better. And that might sound like the same thing, but it's not, because the motivation behind it's different. And you could definitely tell in the spirit of the comment that somebody makes. You know what I mean? I think the other thing too, to go along with this, is that people will, because they're not very good at guitar. I'm not very good at guitar. Like, I mean, I can play it, but, and I make a living with this, but it's not, you know, I'm not good. I'm like really good. You know, I'm not really good. I'm not good at all, really, actually. But I think people will make the replacement. Like, talking about guitars instead of playing guitar makes it sound like they're more enthusiastic about guitar, but actually playing guitar is what really makes you more enthusiastic about guitar. You know, I just think that's where we should spend our time. And that's what I've been trying to do on the other channel, is bring it back around to just like guitar stuff, like actual making music and having fun. And, you know, I think that's one of the reasons why, and my channel doesn't do very well with reviews, mostly because people don't like my reviews because I say different stuff. I don't do the same thing that everybody else does. Like, on release day, I don't come out with a video and it's like, this is the same thing that all these other 100 videos say. I don't do that because my brain doesn't work like that. And I don't use the stuff the same way, right? You're going to see a couple of reviews here in the next, actually, today, you're going to see the Harley Benton review. And I don't think it's going to be what anybody expects. You know, everybody expects me to just like bang on about this thing and be, you know, but spoiler alert, there's nothing really wrong with the guitar. Like, it's, that Harley Benton guitar it's not good. It's not a good guitar, but it's a guitar and it works. I mean, I fixed some of the stuff so that it is playable. So that's cool. So it's a guitar, you know, like, there's nothing, I mean, I don't hate it because it's a guitar shaped thing that's a guitar, and I want people to like guitar stuff. So if this is what you have, then you should play it, because you know what I mean? Is it recommendable? Absolutely not. But it's a guitar, so I'm not gonna bash on it. You know what I mean? But people don't like that kind of stuff, so I get it. But I just think that maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's guitar forums, maybe it's all the way back to Harmony Central, maybe it's, you know, whatever. People are led to believe that guitar is way more complicated than it actually is. And I think if we could get back to that, how simple it is and how fun it is, I want to do more reviews, not because I want to review products. I don't actually care about like reviewing products for the sake of reviewing them. I don't actually make that much money. Like, those videos don't do very well ever. And they also I don't like make lots of like affiliate dollars. Like, I say, hey, go ahead and click on the link, but the number of people that actually do, it's not that many. So it's not a financial thing for me to make reviews. But what it is I just get to discover new stuff, and I'm having fun. Honestly, I'm just literally having fun. That's why I like doing them. But I wish we would get back more to, like, I guess my motivation for wanting to make videos is to spread guitar love, right? And to enjoy, obviously educate people, because we make pickups for a living. So I want you to understand how they work, but I want you to understand how they work in context. There's context matters, right? So you can take a technology like a pickup, and then you can dive into magnetic flux. You can dive into capacitive loss. You could dive into all of these electronics theories. And not theory, they're not theories, but that's what they call them. But they're, it's the physics of how the thing works. You could dive into all that stuff, but honestly, on a Tuesday when you're playing your guitar, none of it really matters, right? And so I don't like focusing on that stuff. I like giving you more application, in use kind of stuff. Here's what setting your pickup height can do, and this is why. Here's what changing magnets can do, and this is why. You don't need to get into the super dumb stuff, like the super crazy, physics of everything, to have fun with it, and to have a general understanding of how it works so that you can have fun with it. And I think that's kind of what I want to do, but people don't like it. People really like the super dive in nerdy stuff, and I don't really get why. I mean, I get why. We just talked about it, but I don't personally identify with it. It's just kind of not my personal thing. But anyway, it's just an interesting thing. Let me know what you think about that, or why. I guess get in the comments and tell me why you like making stuff. And it's not just the technical things about how the guitar works. It's also about pedals. It's also about amps. It's also about, like, people want to make everything way more complicated than it is. Well, I need this pedal, but then it makes me need this pedal. Then actually what you could do is just play with your knobs on your guitar. It'd be fine. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things along this journey that people make more complicated than it has to be. And literally all you need is a guitar, a cable, and an amp.